podcast with producer Petter here, all by myself, as Eric Carmen would have said. This is going to be a shorter edition, obviously, because there is only me here. Those at Pencilled-in Towers are a bit busy this week, with numerous things going on in the background. So you have the pleasure or misfortune of having me here. So apologies. Anywho, this week, or this edition even, we are going to take a look back at Future Shock last Saturday and give a little preview ahead of what is coming up on Saturday, which is today, probably not when this goes out, for New Wave Wrestling's Saturday Night Slam, as well as Monday night, where Catch Pro Wrestling will be taking place in Manchester. So, let's get straight on with the show. As I said, last Saturday saw Future Shock putting on their latest show, that being entitled Everyone Deserves a Second Shot. The posters for this show I did enjoy. I don't think the wrestlers did, because it basically pulled up old photographs. But if anyone's been kind of going on Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called, and seeing that Soraya's wanted fellow wrestlers to post their original promo shots, this is kind of how it's been. Some feel they've been done dirty by Future Shock management. I'll let you decide on that. But anyway, the action itself, we saw the Adrenaline title being defended first. That was the champion Scott Oberman facing Dynamite Lee Dawson. I think a few people could have predicted what would have happened here, especially as we've kind of got a bit of a storyline going on at the moment. Oberman defends his Adrenaline title. However, after the match was where kind of the main intrigue, I suppose you could say, came around, as with Scott making his way up the, I was going to say ramp, it's more stairs, onto the stage. Tony Wright came straight out for his match, and in what was a bit of a callback from the last show, when Tony Wright had wrestled and beat Jack Johnson, Oberman came straight out after he won, and so turnabout is fair play. Tony came out doing his whole pre-match ritual of getting the crowd G'd up. Meanwhile, Oberman just stared a hole through him. No contact, like the last time, but you can feel this animosity building, and I've said it before, Oberman and Wright, this kind of rivalry, I'm here for it because both are two great wrestlers. Love watching both. I made the point, it gives me feel very much Rock Triple H vibes from like '98 when they were battling over the Intercontinental Championship, where neither are kind of fighting for like the top prize in the company, but they're making like the workhorse championship almost more important than the heavyweight title. And these two, they are so great at what they do. Oberman doesn't have to do a whole lot. Like, a smile can be a bit unnerving for some people. Wright is kind of just the most flamboyant, charismatic person. So polar opposites in like their characters. But when it happens, whenever they get going, you know it's going to be a hell of a match. Moving to Tony, he faced the Acid Stephen Cross. Finally got that right after numerous attempts. Obviously, Tony won this match. After the match, Wright asked for the microphone, cut a promo saying that it's obvious.
Look, it's glaringly obvious. I'm gunning for Scott Owen. And it's so obvious he's gunning for me. So here's my message. I have been snubbed for so long. But award season is coming back around, and this leading man wants his pride. Mark my words, Tony Wright, adrenaline champion, and I'll do it all for you.
But I'm really looking forward to when these two get together. I won't lie, I have fantasy booked and told a couple of people how I would go about it. I don't normally do like fantasy books, but everyone I kind of did it with all thought that is an interesting way to go about things. So I will write it down, and if anything should happen, I will prove that I wrote it months ago. That said, we moved to a tag team event, originally scheduled to be Forbidden Planet v FTM. Unfortunately, Critchy suffered an injury that ruled him out, so no tag team title match. However, we still got a tag team match with Steen and Dave Birch facing the team of James Grayson and Prince Pele in Gen 1. The champions win this match I thought it was a bit, not wrong, but I thought it was a bit naughty saying tune-up match. I can see where they're going with that, but I wouldn't fully particularly use that phrase against like a top tag team. But that's just me. We saw a debut on the show with the Vigilante Bentley as he took on as Connor Patrick Riley. Bentley wins, and for both men now it's an interesting kind of where from here. Bentley, you feel, is probably going to kind of work his way up, possibly get a few matches, maybe a title shot down the line. Riley's really seems to have suffered a bit of a hangover since losing his Future Shock title last year. It's just been a weird one for him. Loses it in December. Did win a scramble to get a title shot. Lost that again. But yeah, it's kind of where does the genius go from here? But it's definitely going to be interesting, including for both men. While we didn't get FTM as a tag team on the card, we did get one at least, as Tom McCall made his singles appearance, though he did have Critchy with him, as he took on H.T. Drake. Now, I have conflicting reports of who won, because just a little note here, I wasn't there, hence why I'm very quick with saying what happened. I've seen that H.T. Drake is put down as winning, but I've also saw that Tom won. So no one that was there can confirm that who won. And there are probably people now screaming at me, saying, this happened, I can't hear you, and this is in the past. But if I do find out, I will clarify next week. Your penultimate match of the show saw the models in Danny Hope and Joey Hayes as they took on the team of Jensen Vesper and Peter Sador. I can imagine this was a lot of fun, especially with these four men, because all four of them are humorous as hell, but all really good wrestlers. The models take victory in this encounter, as it saw the first time since I think it's December 2023 that the models have teamed up in a Future Shock ring, as we did see both Hope and Hayes teaming back at Burning Heart, which was earlier in the year, at the Manchester Academy, losing to the grizzled young veterans. Yeah, great to see. Always great to see Danny in the ring. Joey, I think's just waiting for new challenges. It feels like on the championship side, Vesper is from where he was, kind of towards the back end of last year. There's been like a massive improvement, I feel, when I've seen him in the ring. I will say this. For Vesper, when he first came in, I think it was a bit... obviously when you're a new person it takes a bit to get going. Vesper seemed a bit lost, it felt, when he first started. However, the turning point, I feel, was when they had a problem with the ring, which I think it was argued possibly bumps in the night last year, when they needed someone to just like kill a bit of time, and Vesper came out berating the crowd to like basically just do something to fill time. I think from that point onwards, everyone kind of latched onto him far more, because I think they hated him in a good way, but they enjoyed the chant of Jason Scooter, which he hates, but I think has helped him. That one moment, I think, has helped him so much, at least from a Future Shock standpoint, because I think he just seemed a bit lost, and that whole incident of filling time, talking to the crowd, just getting the crowd going, I think from that point onwards, his career there has kind of just gone upwards. Even if he's getting irate with Jason Scooter chants, his wrestling is really solid. It's great to see someone doing so well. I think that's one bit of enjoyment you get going to these shows, of seeing where someone starts or where someone is, and as it kind of a couple of months down the line or even a year, and you see like so much progression. I think as a fan you enjoy that more possibly than even some of the matches. Peter Sador, I'm probably one of those rare fans that after the first time I saw him, I immediately just enjoyed watching him come out. He could literally just come out on the stage and I would be as happy as you know what in you know what. It was... He's arguably... Both Vesper and Sador are charismatic in their own way. Vespa seems very dry. Sidor has a kind of dryness, but is quite humorous as well. Plus, I will never forget the story with my mate having a photo with him, which I won't say what happened, but it was... he took it very well, I'll say that. But yeah, I do love when I see kind of like these two now on a card. But yeah, going off a thing here, the models won, brings us to the main event, which from all accounts I've read online was an absolute barn burner between Holly Barlow and Lizzie Evo. #1 contendership for the women's title. I think a few kind of knew where it was going to go. However, you cannot take away from two top wrestlers putting on a hell of a match. It's the first time I can remember seeing everyone literally posting about how great a match is. I say posting how great a match is. When you have top matches on a card and this one kind of just blows every other one out of like the sea, water. I've gone mental block. But when everyone said you have to see this match, when it is posted, I will watch it, no doubt. I will go straight to it. Holly wins, setting up a title match with her and the current women's champion, Lily Winter. That is coming on June 15th, I believe, at the Stockport Guildhall or Masonic Hall, whichever you prefer. And if I am to be believed, since Winter dragged Holly back from out of retirement, I believe it is 2-1 in favour of Winter. I could be wrong, it could be 2-0 Winter. I do not have my particular things with me, so I can't check because they are charging. But yeah, it has got at least a storyline behind this, which I think for title matches you need storylines, as opposed to just kind of having like a contendership matches do count as well. However, I think if there's a bit of meat to a bone, this is definitely one of them. Because it was the 20th anniversary show last August when Winter said she will face a former women's champion. Rumours ran wild over who it could be. Winter said she already had her opponent. She personally chose it and noticed it was Holly Barlow doing the socials for Future Shot that night. Dragged her in the ring, proceeded to pretty much crush her. Because Holly said, I'm not a wrestler, I don't wrestle, I'm retired. But effectively from that night on, things completely changed. We then saw Holly coming more onto shows. She had a little rivalry with Lana Austin, which dated back a few years in truth. But that's going down a different path, which we've already gone down. But yes, on June 15th, we will see Holly Barlow taking on Lily Winter for the Women's Championship, and that should be an absolute cracker. But yes, next we will have coming attractions.
Hello, I'm Jay Sherman, and this is Coming Attractions.
So, we come to Saturday, which is today. Which is probably why I should have recorded this well in advance. I tried to, but technical issues didn't allow that. So, today at the New Chapel Community Hub in New Chapel, who'd have thought it, just near Stoke-on-Trent, it sees New Wave Wrestling West Midlands putting on their show Saturday Night Slam. Some crackers on this card. So last night saw an 8th match being added to this card, that being Lionel De Silva against Luca Romero, or Romeo, depending how you want to call it. I've seen brief snippets of Luca, haven't seen much of De Silva. So there's a few people on this card that I have never seen or kind of heard. So that's always a joy of going to like new shows or just seeing new wrestlers. You basically see them and then you want to find out more. So I'm interested to see them two wrestle. We have the Jack Knudsen Open Challenge. Jack, who is part of Act 2, also one of the coaches there at New Wave Wrestling West Midlands. He has decided to include a match on this show where any new student can face him and make their first ever, well, you only have a first ever debut. Not technically. No, making their debut at least on a wrestling show, if not New Wave at least. So we'll see who accepts that. Speaking of Act 2, it was last month that saw him and his tag partner Benjamin Harland teaming up with facing the team of MJ Grayson and Jacob North. Unfortunately, on that occasion, they were to be denied victory at the hands of Nishiki, who pretty much turned on the good guys, aligned himself even with Grayson and North. So Harland will get a chance at some sort of revenge as he takes on Grayson. So we will see what happens there. So staying with kind of that whole thing, the picture perfect professional wrestler in Nishiki has, I suppose you could say, developed a new attitude at New Wave, aligning himself with Grayson and North. However, will that lead to a more dangerous, focused Nishiki, or is that going to be a hindrance to him? Well, we'll find out Saturday as he takes on Visage, and Visage is currently on a bit of a winning streak at the moment. Wins over Brendan White and Joe Blazer, which picking up wins against them two is no mean feat. The last time that Visage was beaten came last year in June at New Wave Wrestling's title tournament at Waves Collide, losing to Josh Holly. So since then has practically won every singles match and been on the side of tag team wins. So they are very much someone in form. I will add as well, this match, there will be no Nishiki. Oh, sorry, there will be Nishikis in the damn match. There will be no Grayson or North, because they are barred from ringside. So let's see what happens. Will Nishiki prove that he is a very different animal, or will Visage just, bring him down a peg? Moving to the next match we have, and North will be on the card, as Jacob will be taking on Hashype, one of two vloggers on this card. Has, who I have seen numerous times at Bridge Pro, always fun, very much like a hype man, solid ring wrestler. Didn't particularly enjoy having him twerking in front of me the last show, unintentionally. I may add that onto this, depending how I feel. But yeah, so North and Hashype will go at it on this show. We then have Man Like Derice going up against Gabriel Fuerza, two of the best junior weights right now. Fuerza, who originally from Mexico but wrestles mostly on the Canadian indie scene. Videos I've seen of him, he looks really good. So this is one of those matches I'm really looking forward to see. Derice, what can you say? He's a machine, literally in and out of the ring. Hell of a, just recently won Progress's Strong Style 16, beating Leon Slater in the final from his boisterous behaviour tag partner. Merch seller extraordinaire. The man can sell anything. All he has to do is put his logo on it and it will sell like hotcakes. That is how good he is. But that is not taking away his ring ability, because he is great. But yeah, so you'll be seeing El Diablo versus the Lyrical Dragon in New Chapel, in the middle of the ring. This has got to be an absolute banger of a match. Speaking of banging matches, for the New Wave Wrestling Women's title, Lucia Lee will defend her title against Alexia Nicole. Another UK versus Canada clash, so to speak. I've been following and watching a few videos of Nicole. I saw what I say, Papa, but I'm not above doing that. I've seen her a couple of times on Mystery of Wrestling, which is Evil Uno's fantastic kind of, it's almost like Nomad's promotion. It's like good wrestling but has comedy to it. I suppose Riot Cabaret is the closest we have at the moment, with Nomads on hiatus. Watch Nicole's match against Gabby Forza. Really enjoyable match. So that's kind of helped me look forward to this even more. But the Bionic Woman, as she is nicknamed, she'll be looking to take that title back to Canada with her, especially as New Wave are about to open a training school in Toronto. So that's going to make it fun if Nicole can pull off the victory. However, Lucia Lee will not want that to happen. No siree. I mean, looking at who she's beat so far, well, defended that title against, Zoe Lucas and Charlie Evans. That is a tough start to any title reign. I am a big fan of Lucia Lee. Have been since I first saw her on Soft Pro shows. And for me, Lee has really, the last, I'd say, year, really saw her stock rise a lot, in my view. So I'm really looking forward to this match. Because will we see a changing of the women's guard, so to speak, or will we see the cult classic era continuing on? And in your main event, we now know what the match is, as Tom Callahan, who is the ring announcer at New Wave Wrestling, will team with Flash Morgan Webster. So the backstory was Joe Blazer lost a triple threat match against Morgan Webster and Luca Romero, whichever you prefer. Blazer had a bit of a hissy fit, took his aggression out on Callahan. Webster tried to make the save. Blazer effectively just beat the hell out of him. Callahan then clotheslines Blazer, knocking him out the ring. Flash grabs the microphone, sets a tag team match up with Callahan, who is learning to wrestle. So we will see his in-ring debut. Blazer has been trying to find a tag partner, and as of last night it got posted. I was kind of right, or not kind of right, I was right on who it would be, and it's going to be Wild Boar, which that tag team is not fully polar opposites, but it seems an unlikely tag team, but I'm here for it, and I'm looking forward to this. I should stress as well that that whole incident took place at one of my favourite named events, the Grapple in Newchapel. I mean, you can't name shows better than that. Mwah! Beautiful. But yeah, so Blazer, Wild Boar up against Callahan and Flash Morgan Webster. I will be heading off in a couple of hours for that show. I may try and do a quick blog on it, but you'll know what happens next week because I will be reviewing it. But yeah, that's Saturday's show, and I am really looking forward to see my first ever New Wave Wrestling West Midlands show. Moving to the third event, and Monday night at the Bread Shed in Manchester City Centre, down at Grosvenor Street, we see Catch Pro Wrestling Evil Intent. Oh, sorry, Evil Intent. A few bangers on this card, it has to be said, as always with Catch, which is one of my favourites, if not in the top two at the moment. So the Enigma series comes to a close in terms of group stages. So as we go into Monday, Block A sees Troy Ryan and Scott Oberman tied on 4 points. Dynamite Lee Dawson and Tom Farewell tied on nil points, which is befitting as it's Eurovision weekend. Block B sees Aiton Steen and Ian Skinner on 2 points. Tony Wright, unfortunately, on nil points, while Chris Ridgway leads the way on 4 points. So, the matches this Monday night. In Block A, someone is going to get a point at least, with both Dawson and Farewell facing off. But we have the big match to see who tops the group and who will make it to the final of the Enigma series, as Troy Ryan will face Scott Oberman. It's too tight to call who's going to win that. I have my thoughts, and I will leave them there. Block B, we will see Steen versus Skinner. Whoever wins this will be, depending how they work it, will be on 4 points, the same as Ridgway. However, Ridgway will take on Tony Wright, who will look to try and grab his first points of this group meeting, of the group, sorry. So we will have to see how that all pans out. The Steen-Skinner match is one that is an interesting contest for sure. Skinner just puts out legendary promos on any show he's ever on. I think he's the only wrestler I can think of that will basically do a promo for every show. I can't think of many, if any, that actually does, other than obviously Gene Money. They're the only two I can think of representing the Money Man. I do quite like this shirt actually. Anywho, I'm going off on a tangent. This is one, on the basis of it, looking at it at the moment, it seems clear cut that Ridgway is going to go through on the basis that he has beaten both Steen and Skinner. He will meet either Ryan or Oberman. I have devised a book, a fantasy book, because I've had too much time in my hands, that could and would be very interesting. Nikki and Mike have seen it and they were quite taken by the idea, but again, we'll see what happens. But at the moment I am half out of one, because I did get the whole cash in by Patrick Riley last year right, but not in the way it happened. But again, as Taz says, I digress. We have 2 matches left. We have I think I know which is going to be the main event, but I will bring that forward. So, for your penultimate match of the night, for the Catch Pro Wrestling title, Joe Kessler will defend his title against Scotty Rourke and that man Vusic. Last month saw Vusic and Scotty Rourke fighting out a 15-minute time limit draw. Rourke demanded that not only do they have a rematch, that they include Kessler for the title, and I think where most people thought we'd get 5 extra minutes, to then turn it into this was a bit of a masterstroke. This could go anywhere, in truth. Kessler we haven't seen since the anniversary show. Rourke has been involved in some brutal matches. Vusic last month, that Grimsby Rules 2 match against Danny Proper was is gnarly but so much fun. Vusic himself has been in a couple of fun matches, Gorgon, and then last month against Rourke. It's having only come across Vusic in like recent times, or I say recent months. I did see him last year at Future Shock against Teddy Ray. That was a brutal match. Vusic is the only man I think I have seen, other than possibly Bullet, where you feel you could get killed in a match, which you do kind of want from wrestlers, but I do love seeing Vusic work. Scotty, I just love Scotty. As Andy Ogden from Graps and Claps says, the wettest man in professional wrestling. I kind of agree with that in recent times. Kessler had a really solid match against Christy Quinlan back at Infamous a couple of months ago. So it's great to see Kessler back. Having seen him take a fair few months out following his injury against GYV a couple of years ago. But yeah, all three of these really enjoy watching. Who wins this? I'll come to the end. Because I'm going to do a prediction, because I'm that way inclined. And your main event, my main event, is a triple threat tag team match involving Hard Up North, that being the current Catch Pro Women's Champion in Lucy Sky. Her tag partner is Little Miss TNA herself, Harley Hudson. So happy to see Harley getting the sign, the graphic, that's the word I'm thinking of, to be included in TNA. Thoroughly deserved. Hell of a wrestler. One of the nicest people if you've ever chatted to her. So just so happy for her. Their opponents are the Medusa Complex in Charlie Evans and Miller McKenzie, one of my favourites. Hopefully Charlie is okay. She sustained an ankle injury a couple of weeks ago, so she's had to miss shows this weekend. I'm hoping that she's cleared to wrestle. Fingers crossed. And the third and final tag team is that of Lily Winter and Leah Raven. Every single person in this match I love watching. A few of my favourites in this match as well. Leah, Millie, Lucy, Harley, Lily. I'd just say all of them. Charlie, let's throw everyone in. Always love seeing these. If I ever see them on a show, I always know I'm going to have a good time watching them, because they are all badasses. One thing going into this will be if there's a dynamic with Lucy and Lily. Obviously, the whole women's title incident last month, where Lily was awarded the women's title as Lizzie Evo was stripped. Sky came from nowhere, in a sense, having Lily beat her to become the number one contender and hold that for so long, only to then have Lucy come out, challenge her for the vacant women's title, end up winning it. So that's an interesting dynamic going into this. That is your card for Catch. Let's have a fun time and do predictions, shall we? So, in terms of the Enigma series, I am going to go Oberman and Dawson win block. Oberman and Dawson win in block A. Skinner and Wright will win the block B matches. I think Kessler will retain, because I think there will be some shenanigans. I'm going to say I think Hard Up North are going to win that. I think some of these will set up things. A couple of things I feel will be set up for the next show and possibly future shows. But yeah, I am so looking forward to Monday night. Love Catch. Even though I seem to have unofficially started a rivalry with Atomic, which wasn't on my bingo card. But yeah, that is pretty much this week's edition done and dusted, in the books, out of sight. Thank you for watching my anxiety-ridden self chat for a total of 46 minutes. Enjoy your wrestling if you're going to any shows. If you see me about, just give me a wave and say hello. I may look like a miserable well, I am kind of miserable anyway. I'm kind of like the non-ginger droopy. The dog, I mean, not the other way. Because even though I can give off the face that I am miserable, I've just got a resting droopy face, to be fair. Because I love wrestling. That's probably the first time I've broke out the droopy impression. But there we go. But yeah, if you see me out, say hello. Did get a massive ego boost having Tony Wright say he watches and enjoys this. Alfie, great photographer at Future Shock. Hi, as Punk would say, talking about Colt Cabana years ago, breaking the fourth wall. It's not really the fourth wall. I'm talking to a microphone with a cam on it. I am over talking, so I will do what we do best here